I saved my iPhone golden brown leather case from being trashed using leather dye. It was the only method that worked for me. I'm going to outline exactly what steps I took in this video, and so you can duplicate the process. It was really pretty easy. I ordered everything I needed off Amazon. At the end of the video, I'm going to show you everything I used, as well as another method that I tried at first that did not work at all. I was able to transform my iPhone leather case from this to this. Here we go. We're going to jump right in. Here is step one. First step was removing the sealant using Deglazer. This is what I used. You want to make sure you're in a well-ventilated room for this. This stuff is very potent. I was in my garage, had the door open. Could have used an additional fan. I did let it dry, and then I applied it again a second time just to make sure all the sealant was removed. And this is step one. The second step was sanding. I used a fairly rough grain. I went with 600 grit sandpaper, and I just tried to get an even sanding across the entire case. The only thing that I would give you advice on is around where the camera lens goes. I did not sand inside and on the lip of that ridge, and therefore you'll see in the finished product that part stayed a little bit oranger, quite a bit oranger. But this is step two, sanding. The third step is to apply the dye. I used Fiebing's light brown pro dye, as you can see here, and I did apply 2 coats. Just tried to be as consistent as possible and hit every spot. I did get a good tip online as to wear gloves for this step because your skin is leather and it will absorb that dye and it would be very difficult to remove. And that is step 3. After drying overnight, I rubbed the case with a dry cloth to remove any excess dye, and then I started with the final step, step 4, which is applying leather balm. Now I used the Fiebing's leather balm. I did apply 2 coats. The idea of the leather balm is to reseal the case. You're sealing the dye back in to prevent it from coming off or fading over time. The leather balm is like a polish or a wax. You have to buff it. So once you finish applying it, you need to take a dry rag and buff it out real good. And that's when it gets that final sealed sheen. At this point in the process, this is how it looked. I wanted to get a little more shine on it, so I decided to apply saddle soap. And I worked it with saddle soap, buffed it out, did it again, applied some more saddle soap, rubbed it down, and that is the entire process. And here is how it looked after everything was said and done. And it's been a few months now since I've done this, and I love the case. At first, I wasn't sure if I liked it better than my old iPhone X case that patinaed naturally, until I found my old case in the garage the other day, and when I put them side by side, the new case is every bit as cool as my old one. So I'll show you a picture of the two side by side. But overall, it was a success. I did save the case. I was about to throw the old one away before I dyed it because I just didn't like that orange color at all. And now it's my favorite case I think that I've ever had. This is everything I used in the process. It was about $70 total off of Amazon, and I also used a 600 grit sandpaper. Before I did this process, I found another video online where I used mink oil instead of dye. And these are the things I used there. I deglazed, I sanded, I used mink oil, and then saddle soap, and it did not change the color of the case hardly at all. It looked almost exactly the same. So that's the method I tried that did not work. That's the video. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, please hit the like button. And my name's Jim. My channel is called Jim Does Cool Stuff, and it's all about how I quit my job to make YouTube videos. So if that sounds interesting to you, hit subscribe and check out some of my other videos. More cool stuff to come.